Humor, and this is The Breakdown. What? Hey, everybody! Hi, everyone! It's Wednesday! Woohoo! This is the only way I know that it's Wednesday because I get to see you guys. Other than that, I have no idea what day it is.
Yep.
And it's time for the breakdown. So today I am joined by a pretty talented gentleman by the name of Derek Donovan. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
I'm actually doing pretty good. I've had a couple of shots of vodka, so let's see where this takes us.
Oh, all right. It's that kind of show.
It is. Derek, so we're here because you have created a comic called Trigger Mortis. Is this your first solo comic book?
Sort of. I did a single issue floppy comic, like a traditional comic, called Bionic Bombshell years back, just to kind of try out Kickstarter because it was kind of new at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But this is my first quote unquote graphic novel, like real serious big effort.
Oh, okay. So I read the first comic and I really liked it. What made you choose the Wild Wild West as the setting?
I like genre mashups. I like two different kind of genres thrown together. Like there's a movie called Dusk Till Dawn with George Clooney. It's kind of half heist movie, half vampire. And I was like, I want to do that. So I said, I'll take the zombies and, mix it with the spaghetti Western genre and see what I get.
It was actually quite interesting. There were certain things that I didn't expect. Is it safe to say that this is a one issue comic, or could there be like spin-offs or something like that?
I'm sure I could. I mean, it definitely, the ending could be made into something else, but it was designed to be a one-off. I like enclosed stories. That's one of the things I don't like as much about forever ongoing series, because characters are never in danger. I mean, Peter Parker's got to go back to being Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, exactly. I am with you 100%. Like I'm all about like 5-6 issues at the most, and then call it a day.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. So for those that haven't read the comic, because is it still on Kickstarter?
No, the Kickstarter wrapped a while ago.
Okay.
The book is actually at the printer right now. Right now, the only place to get it is digitally on Gumroad, where you can go download the digital file.
Okay. So tell everybody a little bit about the comic book itself.
Okay. It's set in Colorado, 1876, on the eve of becoming a state. That's when they became officially a state. And it's just your normal Western. But of course, the zombie apocalypse arrives in the form of like a shooting star. And the plague hits and slowly creeps into the zombie storyline. So that's pretty much it. The two things collide and zombies and Western ensue,
So what was it? Have you always been like a zombie fan?
I've always been a horror fan. I love horror. I love monster makeup, all that kind of stuff. And comics gives me the chance to do anything I want. So,
when did your love of comics actually start? Were you young, or did you come into comics kind of late on?
Oh, I was real young. I couldn't even tell you how old I was when I fell in love with pictures and words together. But it definitely bit me hard in my teenage years. I mean, when I was younger, it was just whatever I could get. But I think once you become a teenager and maybe you become a little bit more independent and have some money of your own, you can go seek them out. And that's when it was like, okay, I'm going to get on my bike, I'm going to find them, and I'm going to get them,
Did you have like a specific hero that you preferred, or was it like Marvel over DC, or you just loved it all?
I loved it all, especially when I found, because in my younger years, it was just whatever was at 7-Eleven on the spinner rack, which is mainly Marvel and DC. Yep. But when I found comic book stores that carried all kinds of stuff, and I realized, it's not just vanilla and chocolate. There's, chocolate chip cookie dough and all these different flavors. I was like, okay, I want to try them all.
Did you do the artwork as well? Was this all just a one man show, art and writing?
Yeah, everything's me. Yeah. I had some
Uh,
assistance with the coloring, but pretty much all me. Yeah.
but this isn't your first go around. You've been working in comics for quite a while, right?
Yeah, like 20 years. I've been working for Marvel, DC, Image, pretty much anybody who would hire me. And that's fine. Those are fun jobs to have, but you're still an employee. And you don't own whatever you make. So, like, I worked on Superman and they made a Superman movie. Well, I didn't get any Superman movie money out of that. So, I wanted to make things that I could own.
Yeah, that makes 100% sense because it's kind of like you're catering to them. Yes, it's your style. Yes, it's your artwork. And yeah, you might have an opinion here and there, but at the end of the day, it's their
Yeah,
product.
you're a hired gun completely. I mean, they say draw Batman to jumping off a building. You're drawing Batman off a building, which isn't.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, but
I like the control that comes with doing whatever you want. You know.
so when did your love for comics transition into, okay, now I want to make this into a career?
I think as soon as I realized it could be a career, I think at a very young age it was just the love of comics, and then somewhere in my teenage years I realized that these were made by people who got paid to do it, and I was always an artist, so I was like, hey, this keeps digging bitches. Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool. So what was like your first job? Like how did you get your foot in the door for those that are like, oh, I could do this too?
I did a lot of samples, which is what they tell you to do. You do a couple pages and you mail them off to companies, different there, because there's different levels of companies. There's Marvel and DC at the top, and then they have a lot of independent lower level ones, and you kind of hope you could break in at the lower level and work your way up. And I just letter bombed them. This is before emails. I would just send packages in the mail and bug the living hell out of them.
Do you have plans to further your comic book writing and art just for you, like yourself, your little girl?
Oh, absolutely. The more I can make that part of it pay for itself, the more I'd rather do that. I mean, I like working for Marvel and DC, but that is a job. You are an employee and you do as you're told. I like doing whatever I want, but of course, the financial risk is a little bit. I mean, the reward and risk is more for doing your own thing. But yeah, if doing my own thing could pay me full time, I would just do that.
How has this comic been received? Are you getting like reviews already, or
It's still early. I've only it's only been available for people to read for like a couple weeks now, so I haven't gotten a whole lot of feedback yet. So I'll wait; it'll come in.
do you sample, like do you give someone like your best friends and family members a little piece here and there, like, hey, read this, or do you just like, you know what, I'm going to keep this to myself and let them see the final product?
I try to keep it to myself because I don't want opinions to kind of pollute me. No, I mean the whole point is to be my vision, for better or worse. But towards the end, I did hand it to a friend of mine for proofreading just to make sure, no bad spelling errors, because the last thing you want is to like put it out in the world and have somebody say you misspelled door, and you're like, oh great, I'm an idiot.
It's just those second set of eyes on the work.
Yeah, just to catch the little stuff. But as far as like opinions on the story, I didn't want any of that. I figure if it works, great, and if it doesn't, then I have to become better on my own.
Oh, that's really profound, actually. Has working in the industry already, did that give you some type of confidence and like, okay, I could totally 100% make my own comic and it will be good? Like,
Yeah.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah, I've done it long enough that I know I can do it. It's just a matter of doing all of the jobs. I knew I could do them individually, but doing all of them together is obviously a heavier load. So it's just, can I do it in a timely fashion? I know I can do it, but can I do it fast enough to actually make it come out when I say it's going to come out?
Okay. Did you set your own time limit? Was that like, okay, I want it done by the end of this month, or how many ever long?
Yeah, I did, and I totally blew it. which was fine because I didn't have anybody to answer. Nobody was yelling at me.
True, yeah.
Yeah, but I set a deadline that I pretty much knew I wasn't going to hit. But if you don't set it, you're not even going to try for it.
That's true. And that's why I ask, because sometimes people do give themselves a deadline and then others don't, and they end up struggling to finish said product.
Yeah, I think it's at least good to put one down so that you can miss it and know that you're late.
Yeah, and then be kind of at least try to stay as close to after the deadline as possible.
Exactly.
Now, so does confidence come? Well, for you, I guess, because everybody's different, obviously. But does confidence come from just repeatedly doing things?
Yeah.
Or is there like a technique to build some type of confidence in this type of industry?
I think doing it. It's the repetition, the doing it. I've got, I don't know how many issues, a couple hundred issues of comics under my belt. So I know I can do it. It's just, can I do all of it in a timely fashion? And doing this will give me more confidence in that regard, so that the next time I come to do this, I go, okay, I know I can do a 72-page book on my own under these circumstances. So it's all building on the confidence you already had to get more confidence.
Okay. Well, you're a seasoned pro at this. So let's say a newcomer comes in and they're kind of nervous and shy. What kind of advice would you give them to just help them relax a little bit in this industry?
Just do a lot of drawing, do a lot of pages. And if you're young, you've got so much time on your side. People don't realize that, if you're 20, if you're 30, I'm 45, so
if 41.
There you go. If you're young and you have all this time, just don't worry about it. Just I think it's more important to do 20 pages okay than it is to try to do one perfect page. I think doing more, it's like going to the gym in a way. It's like you don't want to try to lift 100 pounds one time. You want to lift a bunch of weights over and over and over and over again and build that muscle.
That's a good analogy. I actually like that. So what were some of the joys and frustrations of doing your own comic?
It was all joy. The only frustration I felt was when I realized I wasn't going to make the self-imposed deadline. Then I started to feel the pressure and the heat that I put upon myself. But, that's not a big deal. I've been under that. That's part of the experience of doing comics for so long. I've had editors go, "Hey, hurry up." So it's part of the job.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're doing something what is the saying? If you're doing something that you love, you never work a day in your life.
That is 100% true. 100%.
Did you feel more at ease as you were creating your own comic? You were like, I don't have, like you said, editors and other people on my shoulders.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it definitely felt like I was more, I guess a good analogy would be if you're a sports team and you're playing in your home stadium versus an away stadium. Whenever I'm working for somebody else, I'm on an away game, but this was my own territory. It's like, it's in my house. What are you going to do?
Yeah, 100%. So I've never created a comic. I tried to write one and I wasn't meshing well with the artist and stuff like that. So since you're the artist yourself and you're the writer, do you ever have conflict within yourself? Like, okay, no, this artwork is not going with this writing, or vice versa?
No, I think the challenge in that is trying to realize which part is supposed to be pulling the weight of the scene. Sometimes the artwork is pulling the weight, and sometimes the writing should be. And it's just a matter of recognizing, what, I'm trying to make the writing do the work, and really the art should, or vice versa.
Okay. That's pretty, now that, like, as you're saying it, I'm thinking back of not only your comic, but comics that I've read in general. And it's true, certain panels are, art driven, and then other panels are story driven.
Right.
So which came first for you, art or writing?
As a career, it's been drawing. But yeah, that definitely been an artist who kind of learned a little bit of writing, for sure.
And did you learn the writing through the industry itself, or just from all those books you've got back there?
The books. Some of it's been working, but also just consuming stories your whole life. If you've read a bunch of books and you've watched a lot of movies, you are a story consumer. And then once you start to read these books that explain story, you start to look at it and see, oh, okay, I can see the design, the construction of it.
Yes. So this quarantine has shown my family members just how many books I actually do have. Because we were redecorating the living room, so there's bookshelves everywhere. My family's just like, what are you doing with your life? And I have just as many comics as I do books, or a little more because comics are thinner. Do you prefer to read just comics, or you just the all around?
All around. I'll read just about anything if it's good and enjoyable. But I do find myself in making my own comics. I want to try to make them more like novels. There's different kinds. There's the monthly comics, but I tend to like graphic novels or things that, as we said earlier, like come to an end. There's a story arc that happens when it has to come to an end, versus if it's got to always be Batman, returns to the Batcave type of stuff.
Yeah. So what kind of, do you have like a specific book genre that you gravitate more towards than anything else?
I like Stephen King stuff. I like haunted, spooky, supernatural stuff.
I love Stephen King too. There are a couple of books that are misses,
Sure.
but we all can't be perfect.
Right.
By any chance, do you like his son's work as well, Joe Hill?
I have not read any Joe Hills.
Oh, okay.
But I met Joe, and I feel weird.
What?
Yeah, I met him at San Diego Comic-Con. I didn't realize it was him. I looked up from my table and I go, man, this guy looks a hell of a lot like Joe Hill. And I said, by chance, are you Joe Hill? He goes, yeah. I said, good, because you look just like him. But I haven't read any of Joe's yet. I feel bad, but I have a backlog. I'm sure as most book, I have a stack of books.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry, Joe, you're in line.
That is too funny. So I have the reason why I know Joe is because I went to my very first convention and I was going through the bargain bins, and Lock and Key was in there, the very first one, hardcover, and I was like, well, for $2, yeah, I'll take this hardcover book, no biggie. And like I'm looking at the names and I'm like, I don't recognize any of these names. So I did the almighty Google search, and I was like, Stephen King has a kid who writes like reviews. Yeah, and I didn't even know, and that's what the rabbit hole was.
Right.
So having met Joe, and I've only seen pictures of him, so I don't even know what he sounds like. Does he seem like a decent person, or is he like douchey and ugly?
I wish I could have talked to him longer. It was a weird little, hey, are you? Yeah, okay, that was nice. I'd love to have a deeper conversation, but I'd rather wait until I've actually read more of his work. I think the only thing I could say to him is, because he was in the movie Creepshow as the little boy, I think I could be like, hey, I remember you from Creepshow.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's the little boy in the beginning that the dad takes the comic book from.
Oh my god, I did not know that. That wasn't in my Google search. Maybe I needed to Google a little harder. So you said you went to, was this last year, the San Diego?
No, that was probably about 5 years ago. Okay. I've gone to Comic-Con for about 20 years. So
wow.
Yeah. It's a great show.
Yeah. It's my mecca. That and E3 is my mecca.
Yeah, you've been to both?
No, I'm trying to get there. Oh, okay. That's like, oh.
Yeah, it's a little expensive, I think.
Just a little bit, but nudge, nudge. If my producer wants to send me,
well, that's a tax write-off. If your producer sends him, tell him it's a business expense.
Jack, I hope you're listening. Send me.
By the way, my phone charge is getting real low, so I'll warn you if I cut out.
Gosh.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to think of like what other good questions to ask you. So you've been doing freelance work, correct?
Right.
Do you enjoy that? Is it much, I want to say, like, is it more freer because you're doing different things?
No, it's actually more confining because you're beholden to, because you're answering to whoever's hired you versus doing your own work, which is just whatever you feel like you can do.
Well, I just figured it was a little freer because you're not consistently doing the exact same character.
That is interesting, but I think the craziness of not knowing what you're working on next can be stressful. as just as a like, oh my God, what am I working on next month? Whereas everybody in a normal job can tell you what they're doing 6 months from now. So, but yeah, definitely working on Spider-Man 1 month and working on Batman another. That can be cool. That's interesting.
Well, I just figured it keeps it fresh. You're not tired of the same character. Like if I see Batman one more time, I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah, definitely. You could do that.
Yeah. So, Trigger Mortis. How did you come up with that title?
It just came to me, and I said, "Ooh, that's good. I'm gonna run with that."
You were just like what, doing dishes, and was like, "Oh, Trigger Mortis."
I don't even remember where I was. I think I was just, I think I had the story idea in mind, and then that popped into my head, and I was like, "Hey, those two things go together great. Let's run with that."
Now, this book has a couple of dark moments, a couple of moments that I surely wasn't expecting. Was it tough to dive into that? And I'm trying not to spoil it for everyone, obviously, because I want people to actually read this because it's a really good read. But was it tough to dive into like those dark moments? Like, ooh.
No, I think I've been wanting to do that stuff because I don't get to do that in normal superhero stuff. It's all bright and happy. And I was like, I want to go into the more horror type stuff. So no, I think I was looking forward to that.
There's one scene that just kind of pulls at my heartstrings, and I was like, oh no, I can't believe that had to happen. Good. Yeah, no, 100%. Because I wasn't expecting that. Like I was expecting something, but not that. And was there ever a moment that you were like, okay, I do want to take it this far, but maybe I might have taken it too far, like too far?
No. If anything, I worry that I'm not like really taking advantage of the moment and going for the gut,
Oh, you're like trying to go for the jugular. You're like, dude, this is my shit, and I'm doing it.
My chance,
Are all the other stories that you have in mind for comics and stuff like that, are they going to be like this kind of gory, dark-ish?
I hope.
So that's the genre you're trying to tap into?
I'm not going to try to stay in any genre, but I know what I have in my sketchbook, and it's all pretty much in that same kind of area. And
you're comfortable with it?
Sure.
That didn't sound very... You got to give me like a positive, yeah.
Yeah, no, like, yeah. That was an evil, sure.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I like exclusives. Is there any chance you can give me a little clue or tell me a little bit about your next project?
I got nothing spicy. I'm doing 3 pages as a job right now, so that's a job. As far as any cool projects, nothing right yet. I gotta dive into my sketchbook and figure out where I want to go next.
Oh, okay. So close. I feel like you are holding out on me. I'm like, I feel like you're like
the concrete hasn't dried enough to have anything to give you. It's all still kind of fluid.
Okay, I'll accept that.
Okay.
Now, do you have social media for your artwork that people might want to see?
Sure, I'm on all the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the ones that everybody's on.
The ones that I'm on.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time, Derek. Thank you. I know you're super busy, and talking a little of me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Yeah,
my phone is literally... Well, this is perfect timing, too, because I have a feeling my screen's going to go black in a second.
Oh, well, thank you a million times. Thank you. To everyone, please go find Derek, Donovan. You're not the first name I've messed up.
It's okay.
I think I've even messed up my own name once or twice.
It's okay. It's the vodka.
100% always is the vodka. Please go find his comic, Trigger Mortis. As usual, we've got the links and all of that. If you follow him, tell him I sent you. It won't get you much, but I thank you. But it's good to say it anyway. Thank you for tuning in. You know where to find me. You know where to find us, because it's not just me. Jeff is involved as well. My sweet, wonderful Jeff. Issueswithshow.com. We've got announcements that are getting ready to pop off, and I'm so excited. I can't say them just yet. I'm under NDR, right? That's what it is.
Right.
Do not resuscitate. No, okay.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like, I always get confused with the do not resuscitate one and the NDR. I'm like, which one is it? But NDA, there it is. Yay! But we do have great things coming. And as always, thank you for tuning in. Follow us, share us, go find Derek and his wonderful comic Trigger Mortis, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Bye, everyone.